All right, hello everyone. Welcome. We're going to do an interview with none other than Gemini. So hold tight, maybe you learn something. Here we go. Gemini, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty great. Thanks for asking. Just here and ready to help if you need anything. How about you? How's your night going?
Oh, it doesn't matter. But let's begin. I'd like to do an interview with you. Is that okay?
An interview. Interesting.
Yes.
Sure, let's do it. What kind of questions have you got for me?
Oh, lots. First of all, what is your opinion about social media? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a great question. Social media definitely has its pros and cons. On one hand, it's great for connecting with people, sharing ideas, and staying informed. But on the other, it can lead to things like distraction, comparison, and sometimes even misinformation. So I guess I'd say it really depends on how it's used. What's your take on it?
Doesn't matter what I think, you're the expert here. Do you think AI is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I see AI as a powerful tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how it's applied. It can speed up medical research, make daily tasks easier, and even help us solve big problems. At the same time, there are concerns about job displacement, bias, and privacy. So, again, it's a balance, and we need to develop it responsibly. What do you think about AI?
Doesn't matter what I think, it's all about you. Next question. Do you think people need to go back to the olden days where they didn't have a phone and they just live very simple?
That's an interesting idea. There's definitely something appealing about simplifying life and focusing on more direct connections. Without phones, people would probably spend more time talking in person or just being out in nature. On the other hand, phones connect us to a world of information and provide convenience, which is hard to give up. So maybe the best answer isn't going backwards, but finding a balance that works for each person. What do you think?
Again, doesn't matter what I think. Do you think people today make themselves unhappy because they have false expectations about how they should live their life?
That's a really perceptive point. There's definitely a lot of research suggesting comparison and unrealistic expectations play a big role in unhappiness. We often see these idealized lives on social media or hold ourselves to really high standards that just aren't realistic. And that can definitely lead to feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction. It's like we're constantly chasing something different than what we have. How do you think people could avoid that?
That's why I'm asking you. You tell me how people can avoid that, be having false expectations.
Well, a big part of it is probably practicing gratitude and focusing on what you have instead of comparing yourself to others. It helps to be mindful of the curated nature of social media and set realistic goals for yourself based on your own values and not what everyone else seems to be doing. Being gentler with yourself can also make a big difference. Is there anything specific you were thinking about?
No. What do you think? What's the best advice you can give a young person?
I'd say the best advice is to really focus on learning and growing continuously. Don't worry about having everything figured out right now. This is a time to try things, make mistakes, and discover what truly makes you feel alive. Also, building strong relationships with people who support you is crucial. Is there any particular area you're thinking about, like school, career, or personal growth?
I have a comment. I like how you said personal relationships. I think relationships help build confidence, and with the right people, you can basically build yourself. With the wrong people, it can be very toxic and it can really pull you in the wrong direction for a lifetime. So, good point. My next question, I wrote it
I
down.
re-
Go ahead. You were saying something. No? Okay. I like how you listen. I got to give credit. You do listen and you give good feedback. But, anyways, what's the worst mistake a person can make?
That's a tough one, but I'd say a really big mistake is not living true to yourself. Spending your life trying to meet other people's expectations or acting out of fear can lead to a lot of regret later on. Also, holding grudges or refusing to learn from your past mistakes can hold you back significantly. Is there any particular context you were thinking about?
How does a person gain self confidence?
Gaining self confidence is often about taking small, consistent steps. You can start by setting small, achievable goals and then celebrating your successes, no matter how small they seem. Focusing on your strengths, practicing positive self talk, and surrounding yourself with supportive people can make a big difference. Just like you mentioned earlier about relationships. Also, don't let setbacks stop you. View them as learning opportunities. Is there anything specific you're hoping to feel more confident about?
Give me some examples of what people should do to improve themselves. Like, how can a person really improve themselves? Because people tend to take shortcuts and do things in a cheap way to compensate for what they don't have. But how can a person improve themselves?
That's a great point about shortcuts. Real improvement comes from consistent effort, like picking up a new skill that challenges you, reading more books to expand your knowledge, or truly working on your communication skills to build better relationships. Health habits also matter, maybe by starting a regular exercise routine or eating more nutritious foods. And honestly, sometimes it's about making a real commitment to address personal flaws, like managing your temper or being more organized. It's about finding what truly matters to you and making steady progress. Does that resonate with what you had in mind?
Deep thought. I like it. Two things again, relationships and exercise. I think that's a big thing. And people don't have to go to the gym to exercise, they can do it at home, do push ups, do Hindu squats, and just start at home. You don't need a membership. But, anyways, next question. How do you feel about that, by the way?
I really agree with you that exercise doesn't need a fancy setup. It's really just about moving your body and being consistent, whether that's push ups at home, a brisk walk, or whatever else works. As for your next question, what were you going to ask?
You really do listen. I got to give you credit there. I mean, I don't want to get in anything personal, but yes, that's good. You listen. What factors make a person insecure?
I appreciate the feedback. Well, insecurity can stem from a lot of different factors. Past setbacks or rejections, experiences with bullying, or even constant criticism from parents or caregivers can play a big role. Constant comparison on social media can also make you feel unsure about yourself. Sometimes it's even related to perfectionism and setting really high standards. Is there a particular type of insecurity you were thinking about, like social anxiety or feeling like a fraud?
Talk about social anxiety. What factors contribute to that?
Social anxiety usually stems from a mix of things. Past experiences like being bullied, harshly criticized, or facing rejection can definitely play a part. Sometimes growing up with overprotective or anxious parents can contribute, as can genetics or even overactive brain responses with fear. It's often a combination of these factors that lead to that intense fear of being judged or embarrassed in social situations. Does that help clarify things?
I like the emphasis on parents, and I don't want to disrespect any parents, but sometimes we trust them, but sometimes they may not know what's best for you and they compare you in the wrong way. So, good point.
That's a really fair point. Parents often want the best, but their own experiences or beliefs can sometimes lead them to make judgments that don't fit who you are, especially with comparisons. I'm curious, what's the next question you'd like to explore?
Spirituality, is that important, or do you think it's just not important or remedial? What do you think?
Spirituality is something a lot of people find important, though it means different things to different people. For some, it's about finding meaning and purpose, connecting with something bigger than themselves, or even practicing mindfulness. It doesn't always have to be tied to organized religion. Research shows it can boost mental well being, so it's definitely not remedial. Do you practice any spiritual activities yourself?
Sure, but it's not about me. All right, last question, because I'm planning to keep this around 10 minutes. What are some things people should avoid as a means of living a better life?
To live a better life, it's good to avoid things like constant complaining or negative self talk, which can really drain you emotionally. Holding grudges or comparing yourself to others are also big pitfalls. On the health front, Avoiding a sedentary lifestyle and limiting unhealthy habits like excessive screen time or overindulging are crucial for overall health. It's really about focusing on positive habits and mindsets. Since we're wrapping up, is there anything else you wanted to mention or summarize?
Wow, I think you read my mind. I'm wrapping up. Oh no, I did say that. All right, no, I'm thankful for your time, and please have a good evening.
You're very welcome. It was great talking with you, and I appreciate the thoughtful conversation. I hope you have a wonderful evening as well. Goodbye.
Goodbye.